We're going to continue our lesson over circumference using diameter and radius. Let's look at our do now, our previous lesson. The circumference or distance around the circle is blank inches. So we have this thing. So what is this called right here? Is this called a diameter or radius? I believe it is called a radius. So if this is the radius, there are two formulas you can use. C equals pi d or C equals 2 pi r. C equals pi d or C equals 2 pi r. Again, what does C stand for? Circumference equal pi times diameter. If you are given the radius, I would use this one. Circumference equal 2 times pi times the radius. You might again say, what's the difference? Well, 2 radius make a diameter. Again, if you have a radius and you double the radius, it will be a diameter. And diameter is half the size of a radius. So let's use this formula. 2 pi is 3.14. The radius is 12. Let's multiply this. What's 2 times 12? 24. Another way you could have done it is, what's 2 times 3.14? 6.28. So what do you want to do? I'll use 2 times 12 is 24. It's like doing this formula now. Pi times diameter. If this diameter would have been 24. If I multiply it, 16 carried to 1 is 5, 12, 8, 2, 6, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, carried to 1, 5. 75 and 3600 inches. So, again, what do you remember about a diameter compared to a circumference? What's the ratio here? A circumference is about 3.14 times the diameter, or 3 times the diameter, about. For example, if this is the diameter, you have 1, 2, 3, and then you'll have this 0.4 right here. So you have 1, 2, 3. So a circumference is about 3.14 or 3 times the length of a diameter. All right, so let's practice some example. So here's another example. Which formula do I use? Do I use pi d or 2 pi r? If it's about diameter, you use pi d. If it is about radius, you use 2 pi r. So the circumference or distance around the circle is blank millimeters. Let's see, how do I memorize it? Oh, yeah. D. It looks like D, which stands for diameter. That's how I memorize it. It's kind of weird, but this is how you see the letter D right here. D for diameter. So I'm going to use this formula. C equals pi d. 3.14 times diameter of 41. So what is 3.14 times 41? 4, 1, 3, 16 carried to 1, 5, 12, 4, 7, 8, 1, 2, 128 and 74 hundredths millimeters. So again, why is that so? The diameter is 41. A circumference is about 3 times that distance. 1, 2, 3. So if you multiply by 3, that'd be 123, which is very close. And then it's like 0.14 more, times 0.14 more. Oh, next one. The shape of a snare drum, its head is a circle. Here's a drum. So this is a circle. The diameter is 14 inches. The circumference or distance around this snare drum is blank inches. So C equals pi d. 3.114 times 14. That's 16 carried to 1 is 5, 12, 4, 1, 3, 6, 9, 3. Can't remember my handwriting. 4. Don't forget decimal point. 43 and 9600 inches, because this is in the hundreds place. Again, 3 times it. 3 times 14 times 3. If I did approximation about 42, hey, pretty good guess. Is correct. A bagel shop has a circular bagel sign in its parking lot with a radius of 4. A circular sign. Here's a bagel. So the radius is 4. The shop owner is putting string around the outline of the sign. I know that I do that at Christmas. How much lighting is needed? So C equals 2 pi r. So circumference is the distance around a shape. It's like the perimeter. So 2, 3.14. The radius is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Because the diameter would have been 8. Because remember, diameter is double the size of a radius, how I'm going to write D for double diameter, times 8 is 2, 3 is 11, carry 1, 25 and 12 hundredths. The circular lid of a barrel has a diameter of 62. The circumference or distance around this lid is what? C equals pi d. So it's 3.14 times the diameter of 62. That's 8, 2, 6, 24, carry 2 is 8, 18, add up, 8, 6, 14, 9. Don't forget a decimal point, 194 and 68 hundredths centimeters. Make sure I did that correctly. I did kind of rush it. 8, 6, 14, carry. Good, that is correct. And the last question, the radius of a cup. The radius of a cup is 7 centimeters. Mr. Joe wants to find the circumference or distance around the cup, so he multiplies 7 pi. Is that correct? Let's see. C equals 2 pi r. So it's 2. I'll leave the pi because they left it here. And the radius is 7. What's 2 times 7? 14 times pi. Hey, that's different. Why did I get it wrong? Oh, I know why I did. I probably thought C equals pi d, so I use pi times diameter is 7. I think I misread it. I used the wrong formula because I forgot that a radius is half the size of a diameter. So I could have double the diameter. So I needed double the radius to get the diameter. So that's 14 pi. So that's why I forgot to multiply by 2. So what we learned pretty much is so what you're going to be doing in class is you're going to be cutting out shapes, and then you're going to make a demonstration of what is diameter radius. So diameter goes from end to end. It looks like D for diameter. And you're going to lay some yarn. So you're going to measure how long the diameter is. And then you're going to realize a diameter is 3 times. 3 of the diameter will make a circumference. But then you'll have a little part left, which is 0.14. And then this is called a radius. A radius is half the size of a diameter. Already check. This diameter is a distance across. Diameter is distance across the center. It goes from end to end. A radius is distance from the center to the edge is half of the diameter, and circumference is distance around. It's like the perimeter. And then we're going to be talking about this formula, RDC. To turn a R stands for radius, D stands for diameter, C stands for circumference. So what does RDC stands for? The radius times 2 makes the diameter. Here's the radius. If you double its size, it will be the diameter. To do a diameter to a circumference is 3 times, or times 3.14. 3 diameters will make a circumference, or 3.114 diameters will make a circumference. And then to go backward, it's from diameter to a radius. What can you say about diameter or radius? A radius is half the size of a diameter. We divide by 2. And a diameter, what is the relationship between a diameter to a circumference? It's about 1/3 of it. So we divide by 3.14. So this is something you may want to memorize, help you during tests. RDC. RDC. To turn a radius to diameter, you times 2. To turn a diameter to circumference, you multiply by 3.14. To turn a circumference to a diameter, you divide by 3.14. To turn a diameter to a radius, you divide by 2. So RDC. So radius, diameter, circumference. Multiply by 2, multiply by 3.14, divide by 3.14, divide by 2. So again here, so times 2, radius, diameter, times 2, to turn a diameter to a circumference, times 3.14. To go backward, you divide by 3.14. You're breaking it down. So think about it, you're building it up, you're breaking it down. So how is this going to help you? All right, the radius is 7. What's the diameter? It is times 2. 7 is 14. I want to find circumference, so multiply by 3.14 and I get an answer. And then in our next lesson, what happens if you have a circumference of like, I don't know, about 25.12. And I want to find the diameter. So I divide that by 3.14. That's 2 over. It goes in, how many 3/14s go in that? I think it goes in 8 times. Yeah, it goes in 8 times. Wow. So the diameter is 8. Then I want to find a radius. I divide by 2, and that would be 4. So we're going to be talking about this in subsequent lessons. So what the main thing we learned today is you're giving a formula. C equals pi d, or C equals 2 pi r. If it's about diameter, you use this formula. If it's about radius, you use this formula. It will help you. Or you can use RDC if that's easier for you. If you are given the radius and you need to find the circumference, you multiply by 2, then you multiply by 3.14, right here. If you are given the diameter and you need to find the circumference, you multiply by 3.14. RDC.